I was working with Terence Crawford. Definitely a hell of an experience. You get that type of knowledge, that type of IQ. I look up to Bud a lot. Honestly, he one of the realest dudes that I done met. He's still a normal person in his head. Like, he don't believe that he's above everyone else. And that's how I feel about myself.
You see me around a lot. Don't act like you ain't seen me around them days.
He's a work of art. Sky is the limit with Shakur. He got the boxing skills and the ability to, do whatever he wants in the ring. And it's going to be very hard to beat Shakur, with the skills that he possesses and the smarts that he has, and given the opportunity, I think he can pose a great threat to everybody in the division, and be the last man standing given the opportunity.
I'm gonna shut a lot of people up. I'm gonna turn a lot of haters to fans, and a lot of people gonna respect my boxing IQ, my boxing knowledge, my boxing talent.
Nobody in boxing wants you to know what's actually happening behind the Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis situation. And the moment you hear all of it, you'll understand exactly why. Because what started as two elite fighters on a collision course has allegedly turned into something much bigger, much messier, and much more revealing about the entire sport than anyone is publicly admitting.
I try not to talk back, I try to just listen.
Straight boom, straight shot. Like right here, boom, there you go. But you gotta make sure you step. Bam, that's when I'm trying to run out. When I'm trying to run.
Shakur is fully focused in the camp and is willing to learn as much as possible from one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Even if I don't feel the same way that he's feeling at the moment, it don't matter. I still want to hear him out and try to understand what he's saying.
If he's here, pop. What do you think he can throw? It's a hook, because you out the way of the right hand.
He soak up everything that he need to soak up, put it into his arsenal, and then he make the best out of everything that he learned from everybody.
Then throw it straight left to the body.
At the end of the day, you don't want to feel like a know-it-all. And the people that know it all are the people that don't go very far. You gotta always be a student. You gotta always be able to learn and pick up things from this person, that person.
So buckle up, because we are going deep. We are going fast. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will be questioning everything you thought you knew about who holds the real power in the lightweight division. Breaking. Let's start right here. Shakur Stevenson.
And this is why he's not gonna be able to beat me. He got one style that he can do. So I know what he's bringing. I know what he's coming with. He's coming straight in, coming straight ahead at me to throw non-stop punches the entire night. There's nothing different that he's gonna do. I'm levels above him because I know that I can do whatever I want. So it depends on what I decide to do that night and how I wanna go in there and fight. Sometimes I fight in the pocket. Sometimes I move a little tiny bit, but it depends on how I want to.
The most technically gifted fighter on the planet, according to literally every legend alive, reportedly walked into a training camp with Terence Crawford. Yes, that Terence Crawford, the same man widely considered the best pound-for-pound boxer on earth. And what allegedly came out of those sessions is not just a fighter sharpening his tools.
Tank! No! Ladies and gentlemen, you do not do that to Gervonta Tank Davis. If you got the power...
I haven't seen you this hyped in a long time.
Listen, Gervonta Davis is the real deal.
I'm surprised you weren't
You
down
got to
there.
be in the middle of the ring or in the rope. If you're going to be on the ropes, you want to be in the...
It's reportedly a chess match being prepared specifically for one opponent, one target, one night, that fans are saying could redefine a generation, and the name everyone keeps whispering is Gervonta Davis. But here's where it gets interesting, because Crawford didn't just throw a compliment at Stevenson and walk away.
A fighter.
Yeah.
I will pick Shakur because I don't believe Tank will be able to land those big shots on Shakur like he does everybody else.
Right.
Shakur defense is just too tight. And not only Shakur, Keyshawn either.
Oh, you don't think Key either? Even right now, I feel like it's a little... Key nice, though, but it might be a little early for Key right now.
Listen. Tank get hits a lot. Tank, in my eyes, Tank is always losing until he's not.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah.
If you watch those fights...
Well, at least in the early rounds. Middle rounds, he start coming up, but I see what you're saying. Them early rounds, yeah.
Let Keyshawn start hitting them like everybody else hitting them. Let him start hitting them with everybody else, like everybody else hit them.
Yeah.
Man, he gonna clean them.
He reportedly called him a work of art, which in boxing terms from a man as selective as Crawford is essentially the equivalent of a master painter calling someone else's canvas flawless. And that alone should be sending shockwaves through Tank's entire camp right now.
Davis, to me, is the #1 attraction in boxing. He's the #1 attraction in boxing. He will finish you.
Yeah.
He will close. And this brother comes, and he's one of those guys. They call him, the mini Mike, as a Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He's willing to take a punch to give it now.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him hurt. He got bruised.
Yeah.
He might have bruises, but I ain't seen nobody wobble him. I ain't seen anybody.
Update. But wait, before we even get to what Crawford said about Davis, we need to talk about what Stevenson allegedly said in private training sessions, because reports suggest he has been studying Davis so obsessively, so precisely, that he apparently told his inner circle he has Tank completely figured out. Not partially, not mostly. Completely.
Tied.
I think I don't know how good the fight will be, but I think Shakur is, again, like pound for pound, IQ-wise, I think he's even up there with a Terence and those kind of guys, I think the difference with Boots is he's got the defensive mastercraft and he also has the aggressive power to turn your lights out, and I think that's quite different. Do you know what I mean? Like Shakur, I say defensive. I think that's a bit harsh on Shakur, but he's not a huge puncher, but defensively and skill-wise, he's right up there.
He's a real technical fighter.
And the claim, according to online speculation, is that Davis reportedly only operates in one gear. Forward pressure, relentless combinations, no deviation, no plan B. And if that's true, if Tank's entire blueprint is that linear,
selective, but then say Shakur Stevenson ain't do nothing. That's what I'm just speaking as just a fan. You know what I mean? Like Shakur, the 3-time, 3-divisional world champion, unified world champion. So, he's done something, you know what I mean? And he's done something enough to where if the people are bringing him up to you, it's obviously because people want to see the fight. It's not like they bringing up, a nobody. It's like, or somebody coming up in the rankings. And it's like, what have they done? But it's like, this is somebody who, y'all in the same weight class. Y'all both hold, one of the major 4 world titles in the sanctioning.
then what Stevenson is allegedly building in that gym with Crawford isn't just a game plan. It's reportedly a trap. A perfectly engineered technical nightmare designed to make the most explosive puncher in boxing look slow, look predictable, and look very, very hittable.
But that's because a lot of people are fans of knockouts and other things that I don't really get, honestly. But like when it comes to boxing, he's like pure boxer. He's one of those guys, and he's like super competitive. He's like super competitive, so he wants to be the best. That's what makes him like, you know what I'm saying? Like he ain't not trying to lose. Like he ain't gonna stop playing. You know what I'm saying? The wins. That gives him an edge.
Shakur and Tank, oh God, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because if Shakur handles this guy like he did Lopez, I'm gonna say the hell with him. I'm gonna say the hell with Shakur, man. If he just handles this guy like he's, I'm gonna say the hell with him. Somebody gotta give him a fight though, but you gotta be very sophisticated to know how to. This is when I know you lost against Shakur. This is when I know you lost. See, when he does this stuff, once you start doing this stuff and looking at him, oh, it's over. You got constant action, motions, constant motioning him. You gotta be on him constantly. Once you start looking at him and doing that, you're dead.
And that is the part the Davis camp allegedly does not want trending. Now here's where the narrative gets its first major twist because Stephen A. Smith, the loudest voice in sports media, stepped into the conversation and reportedly reminded everyone that none of this technical brilliance matters if Tank lands one shot, just one. Because Davis's left hand allegedly carries the kind of knockout power that doesn't care about ring IQ, doesn't care about footwork, doesn't care about how many sessions you've had with Terence Crawford and Stephen A.
The super fight that everyone's been wanting to see for years is Tank and Shakur. Now, at this point, it might be a fantasy fight with what, Tank has going on outside the ring.
Yep.
But who wins that fight right now, in your opinion?
Right now, Shakur wins it because of his discipline. Because he showed against Teofimo that he stayed very disciplined all night. And he's the type of guy, he don't really do a lot of crazy stuff in his life normally. So it's like discipline is a thing that is not only exercised inside the ring, it's exercised also outside the ring. And as we see, Sometimes Gervonta has problems with this, but we have never seen Shakur have problems with this. We've seen him be more disciplined at the right times than we've seen him not have discipline. So with the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis would be that person because of his intangibles. When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank's a problem for anybody. Tank can fight better than most people think he can. It's just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him, but don't underestimate.
Reportedly framed it like this: all it takes is one moment, one lapse, and the entire chess match becomes irrelevant, which is terrifying when you consider that Davis has reportedly finished fights in situations where he was supposedly losing on the cards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sword hanging over every single conversation about this matchup. Breaking. But then,
terrific boxer, tremendous talent, and he's got a very difficult style to decipher. You know, when you fight him, you have to not only deal with his talent, his great ability, but that you got to find a way to decipher his style. He's got a style that is very difficult to overcome and to look good with, and you know, to obviously be you know, to be productive with. I mean, he's got fast hands, he's got good eyes, you know, he's comfortable in the ring, he has that great amateur pedigree, you know, he's tremendous counterpuncher, real good defensive fighter, you know, he controls space as well as anybody, you know, he's a
This is where it gets genuinely wild. Eddie Hearn, one of the most powerful promoters in the sport, reportedly weighed in by praising Stevenson's defensive IQ in almost reverential terms, calling it elite, calling it special, while simultaneously dropping the exact same warning as Stephen A., which is that one punch changes everything. And when two people with completely different agendas are giving you the exact same caution, you have to ask yourself,
Come on, look at. Oh, 2 days. That's it. 1, 2, boy. No hope here. No. Let's get it. Come on. Go. Get out of here. But again, huh? Right hand, left hand, hook. That's the joint there. No, 1, 2, hold on. No. 1, 2, hold on.
is that genuine analysis, or is the boxing industry quietly trying to protect a narrative it has been building for years because, allegedly, the real story here isn't about who wins a fight. It's about who controls the money, who controls the timing, and who benefits most from this matchup happening or, more importantly, not happening. Alleged Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson reportedly called this the biggest fight of both men's careers, the kind of fight that cements legacies or exposes limitations permanently. And online speculation is absolutely raging. That the reason this fight has reportedly taken so long to materialize is not about contracts, not about belts, not about promotional politics. It's allegedly about fear, mutual, bilateral, completely understandable fear, because Stevenson reportedly knows one slip means lights out.
Oscar De La Hoya also predicts Gervonta Davis would stop Shakur Stevenson, explaining that Tank's constant forward pressure and heavier power would eventually overwhelm Shakur's.
And Davis allegedly knows that a defensive genius who never gets hit and boxes from angles could make him look ordinary for 12 rounds on a global stage, which is arguably more damaging to a knockout artist brand than losing by stoppage. And then Timothy Bradley walked in and said something that nobody wanted to hear. He reportedly warned that even if Stevenson wins and wins brilliantly, the critics will immediately pivot to attacking Davis's resume, claiming Tank never fought anyone credible, stripping the victory of its full weight before the final bell even stops echoing. And Bradley allegedly took it further by warning Stevenson not to appear.
This weekend, I would love to see Shakur and Gervonta. You know, I think Gervonta and anybody in any of the top guys of that weight class is a great fight. Gervonta, Shakur, Gervonta, Teo, Gervonta, Keyshawn. I mean, that 135 to 140 pound weight class is hot right now. You know what I mean? But that would be a great fight. I think probably that would be one of the fights that would be the most anticipated. You know, if they can make happen, Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson. By no means it would be easy for either fighter. You know, we just seen that Shakur Stevens was able to shut a great fighter like Teofimo down and made him look silly. So that would be a great fight, you know. And a big shout out to Shakur Stevens becoming a 4-time division champion. You know, he's on legendary status. He's on his way to be a Hall of Famer too, and he's still
desperate by publicly chasing the fight. Because in boxing, desperation allegedly signals something the opponent can use. And here's the thing that nobody is saying out loud, but everyone is reportedly thinking, if Stevenson is training with Crawford, if he's doing public media rounds, if he's calling out Davis by name, is that supreme confidence, or is it allegedly a promotional strategy designed to back Tank into a corner where saying no looks like cowardice on a massive, irreversible, career-defining scale? Update. Meanwhile, the legends have spoken, and they spoke loudly.
For 135.
That's probably the biggest fight you can make, 135 too.
Yeah. Who would you have winning that one?
It's a hard one, man. You know, Shakur, he's very technical. He's very defensive. And you know what? People on his defense, man, but why are you going to stand there and get hit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in reality, no one likes to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if you can take it or not. The point of boxing is to hit, not get hit, you know?
Yeah.
Gervonta, he's obviously, he's Gervonta. I don't really have to explain why I think he's good. You know, it's just both styles. I would like to see who's the winner of it. You know?
Yeah.
Just being a boxing fan, we want to see who's better.
Same. I mean, again, like you said, Tank's power matched with Shakur's defense. It's that classic clash. And we won't know who the real winner is until it actually happens. And I hope we don't have to wait too long for that. But yeah, there's a lot of big fights.
Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Teddy Atlas, Sean Porter, all of them reportedly in Stevenson's corner analytically, all praising his discipline, his defense, his movement, his counterpunching, his ability to make elite fighters look amateur. And when you have that murderer's row of boxing intelligence collectively saying one fighter is a nightmare matchup for another, you would think the narrative is settled. Except it isn't, because Oscar De La Hoya reportedly came in from the opposite direction and predicted Davis would eventually break Stevenson down through sheer pressure and volume, that the knockout would come.
If Tank can land the power on him, then obviously it's how Shakur then deals with that power. But you can see how good Shakur's boxing ability is, and obviously he's proven it time and time again, 3-weight world champion. If he's on point and stays boxing, he might be able to get through the fight and obviously become victorious. It's a fight that needs to happen, in my opinion. The two most talked about fighters in lightweight division, so I hope it happens.
How would you advise Tank to land that big shot on Shakur? From what you learned.
And De La Hoya's willingness to go against the entire analytical consensus is either a bold independent take or, and here's the conspiracy-flavored version that fans online are allegedly running with. It's allegedly connected to promotional interests that benefit from a specific outcome being perceived as inevitable. And now we have to talk about Lamont Roach Jr., because Stevenson reportedly went on record praising Roach and claiming Roach deserved the decision in his fight with Davis. Which sounds like scouting, sounds like solidarity, but allegedly reads to insiders as Stevenson publicly poking at the one result in Tank's recent history that is most controversial, most debated, and most likely to make Davis defensive. And if you're engineering a psychological campaign as part of your fight preparation, referencing the Roach decision is allegedly the equivalent of finding the one crack in the wall and pressing on it repeatedly until the whole structure shifts. Breaking David Benavidez, Virgil Ortiz Jr., and Josh Padley have all reportedly called this the most anticipated fight in the lightweight division. And the consensus across boxing personalities, analysts, promoters, and legends is that this fight If it happens, it changes the landscape permanently. But here is the twist, the final twist, the one that allegedly reframes this entire story from the beginning. What if the whole public spectacle, the Crawford training camp, the "I've got Tank figured out" quotes, the media rounds, the legend endorsements, the Roach callbacks, what if, allegedly, none of it is about fighting Davis at all, and all of it is actually about building Stevenson's brand to a level where he becomes the undisputed face of boxing regardless of whether the fight ever happens? Because in 2026, reportedly, the biggest leverage in combat sports isn't a knockout punch. It's the ability to make an opponent's silence look like fear. So the real question you need to be sitting with right now is this: is Shakur Stevenson hunting Gervonta Davis? Or is he allegedly already winning a fight that hasn't even been signed yet? And if that's true, like, what does that tell us about who the smartest man in boxing actually is?